your six going further back, and it's what is going on in here? It's probably a good thing, isn't it? It has a hold out. You got that? What? We'll show from a view. I haven't put it on.
You've got 16 layers on. I don't know how you not know. You know the branding. You know it's on the camera's on that side. It's not going to show anyway. Yeah. Skiing. No. Bother boots, Chris. It's a fair one. Bother bit of good shoeing. Yeah, it's a fair. Back.
First things first, VAR again. Purely because, obviously, the incident we saw in the Spurs-Chelsea game with Harry Kane was kind of the opposite of what happened with Vidra's penalty, in terms of the way the decision was made, I suppose.
I think the thing is, I said after our decision in our game, is I'm a great fan of it. So I'm certainly not the one to start picking it to pieces. All I think is it needs, we know it needs streamlining and work and people getting used to it. I think that's a given. But it's not far away or too long ago, that people were talking about the goal line technology and saying how it was going to ruin the game, it was going to delay the game, and of course it doesn't. It's it's so fast, it's done, and everyone moves forward. So I've got no worries about it. Only just the fact that they will work at it, they will get it right. I'm sure of that. The technology is there, so definitely use it. We can all pick to pieces the odd one. We know there are certain instances that happen in a game, and we could also, you could get 1,000 people all looking at the same thing with a different opinion. We know they exist. We're only ever, I think, as managers, or the ones that like the idea of it, we're only ever really suggesting that can we get as many right decisions as possible. It's improbable to get every single decision on every single game perfect. And aiding the referees. The referees do a brilliant job. It's a very hard job. I've said for years, I think the hardest jobs on a Saturday afternoon or whenever the game is, the two managers and the referee. I think they're the hardest jobs. So if they can get some support for the big decisions, fantastic. It aids them to perform even better than they already do. And I think that's got to be worth it.
What do you think is the solution to those two situations? Obviously, the award of the penalty, and Vidra's about to run up and take the penalty, whereas in the Spurs-Chelsea game, offside's given. You could argue that the flags distracted defenders, and then eventually they arrived to the decision that he was actually onside and the penalties.
Well, I can only say on the Kane one, that's not, obviously I wasn't at the game seeing all the news and seeing the clips. If the defender they're doing quick to get there, if they were to go to affect that one, on our one, what I would say, with hindsight, obviously, it's how often how we learn with hindsight, but maybe the ref could pick up the ball and just walk to a neutral area. If he walks 15 yards outside the box, of course, there's still the suggestion that fans might be thinking it's a penalty because they've seen the incident, but by walking away from the moment, the player doesn't line up, the player's not getting ready to be active, everyone's waiting for the decision. I think maybe that's just a calming period to, not give anything. Whilst the stadium is still all obviously thinking it was about the penalty, as did I, it was only afterwards and I found out it was about the callback for the offside, but it was the correct decision. That's what we're all saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. We want just as many correct decisions as we can get. And if that, as I said, if that aids the good job the referees and the officials do, then that's got to be worthwhile.
Injury-wise, any update on when Bardsley's going to be fit? Also, Aaron Lennon as well.
Well, Aaron's going along well, but obviously he's a lot longer term. Well, not weeks. But he's going along well. He's having a little break now, and then he'll come back when the hard work begins again to make sure he's right. Bardo and Louts have both got knocks, and there's a strong chance, possibly both of them. We think there's a strong chance at least one of them will be right. Johan's still got a niggly thigh, so we're just having to be careful with that. So that one we'll have to wait and see. It's been frustrating. Every time we just about get there, then we get another. Robbie, of course, suspended. So every time we just about get there, we lose players again. Stephen's come through well, so he's been in and out. So he's adjusting to getting that rhythm of playing constantly again. Wardy done ever so well, I thought, and we only took him off. He's on his recovery from his knee, and he did very well, but he still needs more game time. And Popey the same. Did a very good job, but still needs a few more games to really be on top of himself, I think. And so, yeah, it's been frustrating. It continues to be so, but we keep getting on with it. That's exactly what we do.
With regard to Nick, then, does that make it easy? Is it a straight case of Tom back in because at the moment he's in?
No, it's a planned return. Extenuating circumstances aside, because that sometimes happens as it did early season. But if you can plan a way of a player coming back to full fitness, complete fitness, then Pobey's kind of midway through his own sort of mini pre-season on a games programme, that is. He's been training with us for a while now. It's been probably 4 weeks out on the grass, active with the first team players. So therefore there's that training sharpness. He's played one under-23 game, got the first game under his belt in the Cup, still needs more match time because that's what you'd have in pre-season when you've been out so long. So, like I say, extenuating circumstances aside, when you might have to do things, we're not in that position at the moment. So therefore, you'll be given the time to be, as right as you can possibly be.
At the same time, how do you pick Joe Hart up? Because obviously he's had a good season. Then there was the 5 against Everton. He's then seen his teammates win the next 3 and only 1 goal conceded in that time as well. He could be forgiven, I suppose, for thinking what he's done wrong himself. Why he's in that position. As a manager, you've got to make a decision. He'd done very well overall. The only thing I hadn't changed is the keeper. Sometimes I have to get to a point just on that where you go, well, I've got to change something, and we'd changed a lot of other things, and that was the last piece that I hadn't changed in the jigsaw, if you like. Risk and reward scenario when you change the keeper. Tom's done well. Doesn't make Joe not a top keeper because he is a top keeper, top pro as well. Accepted it, moves forward. Absolutely top class professional. No two ways about it. And I said after the games that Tom's played, he's been the first to congratulate Tom. They're good friends anyway, but that's the challenge of being a keeper. It's very tough. It's a very specific job. We think we've got 3 very, very good keepers and 2 support that group as well. I'm happy to have them all. And when the decision comes, then it will be a big decision. But that's the way it goes. Have there been any inquiries then? What would your attitude be if someone came in for Joe?
No, we haven't had any inquiries for anyone, by the way. So other strange stories knocking around, which are new one on me, bizarre ones. But hey-ho. I
was going to come on to that. I just wondered how it might affect someone like Tarkowski, because we're told that story linking him with Liverpool is rubbish as well. But when a player sees
I'm not suggesting it's rubbish, but I'm suggesting it's a new one on me. No, I mean, I think these players, virtually all players here, at some point have been through that, where they've been linked with someone. So I think they get used to it. And certainly Tarky's had that many times. So I think he's going about business very well at the moment, and a lot of clarity in his performances for sure. So we want that to continue.
What do you think has been the main difference over the last 3 games?
Well, I did mention before the last 3 games that I felt that despite some of the results, I thought there was a feel in the camp, the way the team were performing, the way they were coming back to what we expect from them. But you need rewards for that. We had what I'm pleased to say was a blip and a bad blip against Everton, but a great reaction, and come out of that with 3 very good performances. And even when we've mixed the side, very good performances in the side against Barnsley. We had to piece that together as wisely as we could, and we get a good result against a decent Barnsley side. So, I've been pleased with that, but I felt it was coming. I felt that the team were performing, and they seemed to have their eye in. But the thing, we've made a big thing with the players for many years now. It owes you nothing. What you've just done doesn't owe you the next one. So we know we've got to go and perform properly, efficiently, appropriately, and to a high level to go and beat Fulham. That's the way it goes. So we've got to do that. How much pressure
do you feel in this situation? Because from outside, we'll look at it as a must-win in terms of keeping Fulham those 4 points behind you, particularly with tough games coming up. You've got Watford to come after that. There's the cup game against City, and then obviously Manchester United as well.
The way I look at it, and you can back my words for many seasons, every game's a tough game. Every game's a winnable game. You have to believe that. Every game's important. I always not laugh because I understand the thought, and I say it myself sometimes. People talk about the business end of the season. The beginning of the season is the business end, the middle is the business end, the end's the business end. Now you understand the thought, of course, stress, pressure, close, who's doing what. But the reality is, win every game you can. And that's the Premier League. Yeah, points are so precious. You have to win every game that you possibly can. And if you don't be too down about it. You've got to get ready to go again. And I think we've done that well over the seasons here. And we've had a tougher aspect of it this season. But yet again, found 2 important wins and then a good win in the Cup. And things feel and look slightly different. But as I suggest, it doesn't guarantee the next one. We know that. We're wise enough in the Premier League to know that. We have to go and earn the right. And that's our focus. Not beyond that, just to focus on the next game.
Was it a case that I'm not feeling too down when you're in the bottom 3 and now you're 4 points clear?
I don't think we're ever, people often ask, including yourselves, about morale. I think morale's been decent around the camp. I think there's an honesty, there's a way we work, there's an open-mindedness to how we work here. And I've been really pleased with a lot of the work the staff have done and the players have done. It's just that you've got to get rewards, you've got to get wins, you've got to get points on the board. That's my job and their job, and that's what you're judged by. But the actual work of the staff and myself included, not an easy thing to say, but I think we've worked very hard with the players, and I think the players have paid us back with that hard work to begin to show the side that we think we can be. And as I said, it's another beginning. We've had a couple of false starts this season, and now it's about taking on and continuing the form that we've been in and the consistent level of performance, which I've been searching for all season, and so have the players.
What have you made of Fulham under Ranieri?
It's tough. The first season of the Premier League we've been through, so it's tough. And a lot made of their spending, but it's tough. Even spend money. You have money, you don't have money. It's tough. The recruitment market is very, very tough for everyone. It gives you an option maybe to open more doors when you have more finance, but it doesn't guarantee. They're still looking for the way of working, the way of playing that's going to get them rewards. So we know that. But they've still got some very good players. They've got a very good manager. We have to be aware of all that, but equally, whilst we're aware of it, push it to one side and remind ourselves of the form we're in and go and deliver that and go and deliver them performances, because we've shown recently we can take care of our own business, and that's what we look to do. And
you mentioned the market again. How hopeful are you of maybe being able to add some reinforcements?
As hopeful as I am most windows, which is who knows. Very tough, very tough. It's tough for everyone. We have our own way of working that does sometimes make it even tougher. That's just the way it is.
Obviously, you've been linked with Matt Phillips at West Brom, and then we hear that he's in talks over a new contract.
Was that ever a goal? I don't know how many you want to name. How many do you want to name? I don't know how long you want this to go on for. You can name 100 players we've been linked with every window. There's not many of them 100 arrive here, so I always find that quite interesting. It is, in a strange way, and I'm not making light of it because it's important. This is business. It's very important, recruitment. But it is amusing sometimes. You just think, where do these come from? Where do these players, where do these links come from? Some have some truth in them. Many don't. Many don't. That's just the way it is. It's good for tittle-tattle, though. It's good for my text messages, because you get 1,000 text messages from people. Oh, you're in for them and you're in for them. And I go, no. But that's the way it is.
We're not seeing a lot of movement in the market as a whole, though, particularly Premier League
early in January, it's unusual, I think. So I don't know about every year, but it seems that way, and ever more so. People hold their players right to the last minute. Everyone wants as much money as they can get. Everyone, or a lot, don't want to lose their players either. So therefore, they push the market not just for the money, but the fact they don't want to lose players. They want to get players, etc., etc. So I think, if you check down the years, I think early January is unusual for big, apart from the really, really big purchases. Everyone knows that the superpowers have enough finance where they can just literally make it up, and if they choose to, of course. But sometimes it's a case of waiting, keeping your ear to the ground, keeping your eyes and your ears open, knowing what the market's suggesting that might happen, and being there. We're often there to, once the wheels start turning, we can't make them turn. We have to wait for the bits and bobs that come out that we've been looking at and see if they're available. It's tough, really tough. Thank you.
Okay, comes up then, please.
Oh, good.
Oh, is it all better?
Do you know what? I just said to Daz, it's bizarre. I've had the best 2 days. I've had it 6 weeks, yesterday and today. This morning particularly, got up and thought, and then...
Okay. Yeah, sure. Charlie, just want to get the players' thoughts again on VAR, because obviously we saw the incident last week with the penalty, and obviously Vidra's running up, about to take it, but then there was the kind of opposite of that in midweek with Spurs against Chelsea and what happened there. Are you guys confused over it, or what would you like to see happen? How do we clarify this situation?
Personally, I mean, the one against us at the weekend, obviously looking back, that was the right decision. Then the Chelsea game the other night, you could argue, whatever angle you looked at it from, you could argue both ways. So maybe it just needs clarifying a bit more clearly. Maybe the people in the studios need more camera angles, I don't know. But I do think in the long term it is good for football, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to get it right. So I think it just needs clarifying, really. So it needs more work, but it is I think it's the right decision, but maybe just needs tweaking a little bit.
I was thinking about the processes on the pitch as well, because obviously a situation where Vidra's running up to take a penalty isn't great. Similarly, a situation where a linesman's putting up a flag to give offside and play goes on, and then there's a penalty and then they go back. Maybe if the linesman in that situation was to wait, I don't know what you guys would want to see happen out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Vidra's penalty last week, I think the gaffer spoke about maybe the ref holding the ball in his hands to stop any confusion there. like I say, I do think a couple of things maybe need tweaking on it, but I think overall it's the right move for football, and I think it's going to help the referees and help with the big decisions.
3 wins on the spin since Boxing Day in all competitions, just 1 goal conceded. What's been the difference?
I think, before the West Ham game, we had a few meetings and a few clear the airs and said what needed to be said, and we just looked back to ourselves the last 3 games, and I don't know, really, we look like the Burnley of old, and we're all working hard for each other. And look, the first half of the season we weren't as good as what we needed to be, and we knew that. So we knew we needed to change it, or we'd be in real danger. So that's helped, and we're moving in the right direction now.
Without giving secrets away, or maybe you can actually give some secrets away, but what was kind of talked about in those meetings? What was thrashed out, if you like?
People voice their opinions about where maybe we were going wrong and what we needed to improve on, and how we were going to get out of. At that point we were in the relegation zone, so just about how we were going to get out of that, and what needed to be done. And look, so far we have improved, and it's worked.
How much of a boost is it to climb out of that drop zone as well? Obviously you play Fulham this weekend. You've now gone 4 points clear of them. Yeah,
just looking at the table, it's so much better. You look after the game and you're in the relegation zone. It's not nice. It's not a nice feeling to see yourself in the bottom 3. So now when you look at the league table after a couple of wins, it looks a lot better. But we want to keep striving and keep improving and keep climbing up the table and getting as high as we can and as far away from the danger zone as possible.
Obviously, while you have something to gain in terms of increasing that advantage and the gap between yourselves and the drop zone, though, that you've got something to lose now because you've got that 4-point advantage over Fulham.
Yeah, look, it's another huge game, just like the West Ham game, just like the Huddersfield game. It's massive. We know a win for us can move us 7 clear of them, and like a loss, they're 1 point off us. So it is massive, but at the minute, every game's massive, and we just need to take it 1 game at a time, and just like I said before, get as high up that table as possible.
Does it come, when you say 1 game at a time, does it come into the realm of a must-win game? Because obviously there's a tough task after that against Watford. You've got the cup game against City, and then it's Manchester United in the Premier League as well.
I'm not sure if I'd say a must-win. A couple of weeks back against West Ham, that was a very big game. But we know what we need to do. We want to go, and we want to go Saturday, and our aim obviously is 3 points. But if we don't get them, it's not the end of the world. And like I say, we just need to get as many points on the board as we can and be safe at the end of the season.
You feel it's more like the Burnley of last season then?
Yeah, I think everyone would say, looking back at the last 3 games, we've looked a lot more like ourselves. I don't know what, I personally can't put my finger on it, but there's just I don't know. We've seen. I think we got the stats up, and with all our stats are up, so that's helped. And just confidence. The confidence from the first win has helped, and then moving into Huddersfield, and then even just winning in the cup last week. Confidence is huge in football, and I think that's helped a lot. And we want to carry that into Saturday as well.
What's it say about the spirit, the character within the group as well, that you've been able to turn it around like that, but also the fact that you've, I suppose, been able to be honest with each other in those meetings that you've had? Yeah,
I think we've got a lot of big characters in the changing rooms, and they've helped. Obviously, we've got a lot of players who have been there and done a lot of stuff in their careers, so that helps. Like I say, we've got big characters, and you need them really to pull through. And when times are hard, people need to stand up and be counted for and perform on a Saturday.
How's Joe Hart been about the place? Because I suppose he's been the unfortunate one that hasn't been able to go out there and kind of make amends, get that Everton game out of his system.
Yeah, Joe's a top professional and a top player as well. I mean, we've got a lot of top class goalkeepers here, and obviously only one can play, so it's a tough decision for the manager. And he made the call of putting Tom back in, and obviously I think everyone would say Joe's played really well this season and unlucky to lose his place, but that's football at the end of the day. And Tom's come in and results have happened, and I mean, it's unlucky on Joe, but it's not changed anything around the place. He's still a top pro and a top player, and he's brilliant to have in the dressing room. Look, the career he's had so far is He's won a lot of stuff, and he's a big help.
And just finally, for me, what do you make of Fulham under Ranieri? What kind of a test are they going to provide?
I mean, I think Fulham are a good team. I mean, at the start of the season, I don't think many would have said they'd be in the bottom three with the money they've spent and money they spent in the summer and the players they've got. So we know the test, but we're at home and we want to be on the front foot and hopefully go and get 3 points.
Okay, guys, cameras off. Thank you.
That real eye-opener, Charlie, that the defeat at Fulham.